Hello students, in this video we will be discussing about the basic properties of a finite set. It is outlined as a theorem. The theorem consists of three parts and it states that if A is a set with m elements and B is a set with n elements, then A intersection B is empty, then A union B has m plus n elements. It is very trivial result, but you have to prove it. And the second part is, if A is a set with m elements and C subset of A is a set with only one element, then A minus C is a set with m minus 1 element. And the third part is, if C is an infinite set and B is a finite set, then C minus B is also infinite. So the first part of the theorem states that if A and B are two disjoint finite sets with one consists of m elements and another one consists of n elements, then its union consists of m plus n elements. And the statement B is an equivalent statement of A as well, which states that if A is a finite set with m elements and C is a subset of A with exactly one element, then A minus C has only m minus 1 element. And part C states that if C is an infinite set and B is a finite set, then C minus B is infinite. That is, if we remove a finite set from an infinite set, then the remaining part is surely infinite. So, we will prove this theorem. The first statement, we have A is a finite set with m elements. So, by the definition of finite set, we have a bijection f from n suffix m onto A, where n suffix m is the collection of first m natural numbers. And also it is given that B is a finite set with n elements. So, there exists a bijection G from n suffix n onto B, where n suffix n is the first n natural numbers. Now, A and B are disjoint. We have to prove that A union B consists of m plus n elements. So, what we have to do is, we have to define a bijection H from n suffix m plus n onto A union B. We define this bijection using the function f and g. So, for our convenience, we choose the elements of A as small letter a1, a2, a3, etc. am, and the elements of B as small letter b1, b2, b3, etc. bn. So, for our convenience, we take as the function f maps 1 onto a1, 2 onto a2, 3 onto a3, etc. m onto am, and the function g maps 1 onto b1, 2 onto b2, etc. n onto bn. So, we define a bijection H as, the first one we define as H maps 1 onto a1, 2 onto a2, 3 onto a3, etc. m onto am. We choose as such, that is, h of I and f of I are same, where I varies from 1 to m. So, h and f are essentially same, or we can say that f is a restriction of h, or h is an extension of f. We are choosing as such. Now, in order to move forward, we have already defined h in 1, 2, etc. m. Now we have to define H for B1, B2, etc. Bn. So our convenience, we choose H maps m plus 1 onto B1, H maps m plus 2 onto B2, etc. H maps m plus n onto Bn. That is, H maps m plus 1 onto the element G maps onto 1. That is, H maps H of I onto G of I minus m for I varies from m plus 1 etc. m plus n. So H maps H of m plus 1 is G of 1, that is G of m plus 1 minus m, and H of m plus 2 is G of m plus 2 minus m, which is G of 2, which is B2. So we have successfully defined a function H from set 1, 2, 3 etc. m plus n onto A union B. Since f and g are bijection, we can safely assume that H is also a bijection. So H is a bijection from n suffix m plus n onto A union B. That is, A union B contains exactly m plus n elements. Now we move on to the second argument. So the second argument is, if A is a set with m elements, C is a set with only one element, then A minus C is a set with m minus 1 elements. We can prove this argument in two ways. One is, in the first statement, if we substitute A as A minus C and C as B as C, then we can easily prove that its union A minus C union C, which is A when C is a subset of A, contains exactly m minus 1 plus 1, which is m elements. So statement B is somewhat equivalent to statement A. Okay, this is one way of proving statement B. I will explain once more. To prove A is a set with m elements and C is a subset of A with only one element, then A minus C contains m minus 1 elements. It is enough to prove that if A minus C is a set with m minus 1 elements and C is a set with only one element, then A is a set with only m elements. So in statement A, we replace A by A minus C, m by m minus 1, B by C, n by 1. Then A union B is A minus C union C. When C is a subset of A minus C union C is essentially A. So it contains m minus 1 plus 1 elements, which is m elements. So that is one way of proving statement B. Another one is, for convenience, we choose C as AK, where K varies from 1 to m. Since we have assumed that A is a set with exactly m elements, we can safely assume that there exists a bijection F from n suffix m onto A. Okay, so what we define is, we define a bijection H from n suffix m minus 1 onto A minus C, where C is element AK. So what we do is, up to K we define H of I as f of I up to K. Okay, and after K, H of I is f of I plus 1. That is, if we take the elements of A as A1, A2, etc. AM, and in between is AK, H maps 1 onto A1, H maps 2 onto A2, etc. H maps K minus 1 onto AK minus 1, and after the kth stage, H maps K onto AK plus 1, H maps K plus 1 onto AK plus 2, etc. H maps M minus 1 onto AM. So clearly H is a bijection from n suffix m minus 1 onto a minus c. So a minus c contains exactly m minus 1 elements. This is another way of proving statement B. Now, in order to prove statement C, we assume that C is an infinite set. So B is an finite set. We have to prove that C minus B is infinite. Let's say we assume that C minus B is finite. Then C minus B union B is C. If for our assumption C minus B is finite, B is finite, then by statement A, C minus B union B, which is C, must be finite. But it is given that C is infinite. So our assumption is wrong. That is, our assumption of C minus B is infinite is actually wrong. So C minus B cannot be finite. C minus B should be infinite. This is another way. I will repeat once more. If C is an infinite set and B is a finite set, then C minus B is infinite. For convenience, we assume that C minus B is finite. B is also finite. Then C minus B union B is C. The union of two finite sets is finite by part A of the theorem. So C should be finite. But our assumption is C is infinite. So we get a contradiction. So our assumption of C minus B is finite is wrong. So actually C minus B is infinite. I hope you understood the theorem.